Okay, guys. Hey, it's Spooky Noodles, and I did not know this, but I was tagged in a Booktube tag. That sounds bad. Let's see here. What's it called? My new horror booktubers tag. So it's a horror booktubers tag. That's what it is. And I wrote down or typed down the answer, or the questions in a list here, so if you see me not looking at the camera, that's because I'm reading off the list, so I apologize. I don't really look at the camera much anyways, because I kind of got, well, I don't know if I've talked about this before or not, but I got like ASD, autistic spectrum disorder, and making eye contact, even if it's with a camera, like I know there's people behind that camera, so it makes me not really want to look at the camera, so that's why I don't look at the camera very often, so I apologize. But today we will be reading off a list about a horror booktube tag, and I'm excited because this is my first tag video. So I was tagged by Are You Into Horror? So yeah. Let's read off this list, alright, shall we? Let's make it through this list before you guys hate me totally. Alright, so the first question we have. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Whoops, I'm deleting stuff. Sorry guys, okay, technical difficulties. Alright, so this is the first question. How and when did you get into horror? My answer? I started liking horror when I was a kid. I watched all the slasher flicks, and when I was younger, I wanted to be a horror director. When I was a teen though, I read Carrie, which blew my freaking mind. I love that book. But it was only just recently when I started reading horror. Now I love I love the horror book genre, and even am writing a few short horror stories myself. So let's go to question number 2, which is, what was the first horror book that you read? My answer? I kind of gave it away already, but the first horror book I read, if you don't include Goosebumps or Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, was Carrie by Stephen King. Alright, sorry guys, again reading off the list. What horror related goodness can we expect from your channel? Answer. You can expect me to talk about horror themed books I loved or didn't love, and maybe even more horror, or even some horror movie reviews, which I plan on doing in the future. Horror movie reviews. I just haven't gotten around the time to watching horror movies, so that's my plan, to do reviews on old horror movies, new horror movies, you know. That's my plan. I love seeing horror movies, and every time I go out on a date, I go take my date to a horror movie, because what else are you gonna watch, right? Next question. Do you have any favorite themes or subgenres within horror? My answer? Coming of age horror is my favorite horror. Reliving what it was like to be a kid is absolutely amazing. Some of my favorites coming of ages include Summer of Night by Dan Simmons and The Traveling Vampire Show by Richard Lehman. And number 5, this question is number 5. Name an underrated horror novel or author. My answer? Underrated horror novel goes to Steve Vance's The Hyde Effect. Book was so freaking good. When it comes to underrated horror authors, I definitely give that to my man Ronald Kelly. He wrote Fear, which is what I'm currently reading, and so far it is the best coming of age horror story I've ever read. Strong words, strong opinion right there. Guys, I just realized I skipped number 6, which is who is your least favorite author, I think it is. Let me see. Question number 6 is name a overrated horror novel or author. And I'm gonna give both of those titles to Brian Keene. I don't think he's as good as everyone says he is. I read Ghoul and I thought it was okay. I liked it, but it's supposed to be his best. Everybody tells me how amazing Brian Keene is, and I read Ghoul and I wasn't impressed, but I liked the story, but I wasn't impressed at all. So I find him overrated. I find him overrated, and his book, Ghoul, is an overrated book. I know it's an unpopular opinion. I don't like saying anything negative about anybody, but if I have to make an answer, it would be Brian Keene. Alright. Number 7. Recommend 3 of your favorite horror novels. My answer? Fear by Ronald Kelly. I haven't finished it yet, but it's such a great book. And secondly is The Traveling Vampire Show by Richard Lehman and Killer by Peter Tonkin. Now question number 8 is recommend a book for someone who is new to the horror genre. My answer is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. It's such a great horror book, and it will tear at your heartstrings. Perfect way to dip your feet into horror is I screwed up that sentence so bad, guys. Perfect way to dip your feet into the horror is with the king himself. There you go. Are there any book to film adaptations that you particularly loved or hated? Answer: speaking of Pet Sematary, the film adaptation really sucked. I'm sorry to the ones who loved it, but I didn't care for it one bit. Alright, question number 10, guys. How do you discover new or new to you horror books? And I actually have 2 answers here, but I only wrote one answer. I'll say the second answer after this one. So I have this Facebook page or group I'm a part of called Books of Horror, and the people there always suggest the greatest things, I swear. And then my second one is when I go on eBay, I have this eBay seller called the Horror Lady, and when she puts up new books I've never heard of, I must have them. Of course, I'm going on strike from buying anything for a while, and that's probably for the best. Question number 11. What was the last horror book you bought? Answer to this is last horror book that I bought was an autographed Dan Simmons novel called Summer of Night. And that's true. Alright, question number 12. What horror book is at the top of your wish list? Oh my gosh. I have so many horror books at the top of my wish list, guys. It's bad. But I wrote one here. But really, like, I have multiple books that I really want. But I'm just gonna read the answer. The Buzzard Zone by Ronald Kelly is at the top of my wish list right now. It looks like a great book, and I want it so badly. But to be honest, there's a signed autographed copy of Fear by Ronald Kelly that I want. There is a book called The October Boys by Adam Millard that I really want. I just bought the Kindle version, but it would be awesome to have the physical copy. And a few other ones I can't think of at the moment. But yeah, for sure. Got too many books on my wish list, guys. And for number 13, the question number 13, which is optional, tag some people. My answer to this is I don't know who to tag. But if anyone is watching this and wants to make a video, then I tag you. It's like Pokemon. I choose you. I tag you. Alright, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I did it in 8 minutes. My bad. I did this in 8 minutes, guys. Oh, yeah. I sped through this. Alright, guys. I hope you're having a spooky night. And I'm sorry I wasn't looking at the camera most of the time. But like I said before, I never really look at the camera much anyways. And I am bouncing my leg like crazy while reading these. So if I'm like looking like the Blair Witch Project, I am so sorry. I just realized I was bouncing my leg, and I was probably doing it throughout the whole video, so I apologize if the whole screen is just bouncing the whole time. Just pretend like we're in a survival horror movie, and we're running from like some demonic spirit as we're saying our favorite horror books and stuff like that. Alright, guys? I hope you have a spooky night, and as always, have a great day. Bye, guys.